Good morning, good morning. Today's video is all about menopause at work. And the next couple of days, I'm going to upload a blog about this as well. And actually, this blog this month has taken me what seems like an age to actually write, to sort of put pen to paper, if you like, in amongst the concentration, the brain fog, the memory lapses as well, because I've been listening to podcasts, I've been reading stuff, I've been watching, programs such as the Davina one at the beginning of May. So I then wanted to pull together both a blog and do what I hope is a short video in terms of sort of top tips for, managing our perimenopause, our menopause at work. So I'm going to try and keep it as succinct as I can. So menopause and menopause at work. What does one have to do with the other? Sometimes absolutely nothing. And it would be great if this was always the case, because for some of us women, we sail, through the menopause with barely a symptom or two. But for some of us, it's not an easy transition. And what I wanted to share with you today, and I'm going to have a look at my notes because, again, remembering stats, that kind of memory, that loss of concentration, but some stats about menopause at work, just to sort of normalise our experiences and our physical and our cognitive symptoms as well. So this was actually taken from a survey conducted by the Fawcett Society, and they were instrumental as well as being part of doing the survey and the stats for the Davina programme as well. And you can find this article through Menopause Matters on their website too. But it was saying that 44% of women who've been employed during the menopause said their ability to work had been affected, comprising of 18% of women who said that their symptoms currently affected their ability to do their jobs, and 26% in the past. 61% said they'd lost motivation at work due to their symptoms, and 52% said they'd lost confidence. And 26% of women who'd been employed during the menopause had taken time off work due to their symptoms, but just 30% of them had given menopause as their main reason on their sick note. And then leading to us cutting down or actually leaving work, 10% had left work due to menopause symptoms. And I think this was mentioned on the Davina programme as well. And actually mapped onto the UK population, that would represent an estimated 33,000 women who tell us that they've left a job due to menopause. And 40% of women have reduced their hours at work, 14% have gone part-time, and 8% have not applied for promotion. So what they were saying is menopause is clearly a cause of women's career stalling and a factor in the size of the gender pay gap, which I felt was all very interesting, and it resonated with me because I thought, gosh, we're not alone. We're not alone in this. And just a sort of slight sidestep, which kind of came to my attention even now, actually only at the age of 49 and actually 50 this year, was maybe back at the age of 44, intuitively what my body was telling me and the symptoms of perimenopause was actually I needed to slow down and I needed to do something different. And of course, I retrained to be a counsellor. And looking back now at the age of 45, I'm thinking that's interesting. I was choosing to go to part-time, working 4 days a week rather than 5. At the time, pre-COVID as well, I was actually choosing to be working at home more and more, and actually thinking about what was my body telling me to actually say, I need to press pause here and actually consider maybe a different career and a change of career. So it's interesting looking back of what maybe at the time I wasn't noticing, but I was intuitively doing to take some different steps and acknowledging both my physical and sort of my cognitive, function at work too. So I wondered if you watched the Davina programme at the beginning of the month, and I wonder what your thoughts were about it. And in my blog, which I'll share out shortly, I'm going to post a link to that program if you've not watched it already. And you know what? I found it really, really fascinating when they were talking about the impact of our estrogen levels on our brain function. So the brain fog, the concentration, the memory losses. And I'm sure this will resonate with you. And you may have already lost sight of the last few sentences or from the survey that I've read out to you. I know I have, which is why I needed to share it and read it out to you. So, and going back to noticing that 7 out of 10 women, are experiencing that brain fog at work, and 1 in 10 have left work. I thought that was quite alarming to hear, but actually in a bizarre way quite comforting to say, we're not alone in this, that we are experiencing this when we're working, during our perimenopause and our menopause. And within that report too, the Business in the Community survey found that the main symptoms affecting women at work for fatigue, I'm definitely on point with that, the hot flushes, the focus and concentration, anxiety. So that was in order: 40%, 35%, and 34%, and 32% of the respondents. Which gets me onto the point about what can we do to help ourselves and support ourselves at work, and what can we do and what can our employers do? That's, in fact, if we are PAYE versus self-employed. So here's my top 5. So the first one I was thinking about is our own psychoeducation, educating ourselves about the perimenopause and menopause. So you know what, we can normalise our experiences, both physical and cognitive. And then if we choose to do so, there's a great opportunity here to educate our employer. That's if we're full-time work, depending on where they are, with the education around the menopause as well. So being able to communicate our needs, our wants, to put ourselves and others at work too. So where I'm going with this, if you are in paid employment, you can request reasonable adjustments to be made within your workplace to help you manage your perimenopause and your menopause symptoms. So this could be flexible working. This is actually a route at the age of 44, actually, I chose to go down in working with my employer at the time, but maybe little did I realise at that point in time. If you actually wear a uniform, maybe you can request a different uniform, if you're experiencing those hot flushes. Or maybe with those symptoms in mind, you're able to request to move to a cooler part of the office, or maybe asking for a fan or a desk fan. And actually, this is what's really helped me, using technology where it can help you, sort of setting up reminders on your phone, or maybe taking more notes as well to help with the brain fog. If anybody was to look at my phone now, the amount of notes that I make just to kind of re-jog my memory, something that pre-perimenopause and menopause, I could literally extrapolate from my brain, and now I need a trigger to remind me of things. So it's useful to think about those practical changes that can help you. And actually, again, you may have access to an occupational health service, so you maybe can speak to them about support and possible work adjustments. And don't forget to, you can speak to your work colleagues too, and finding that you're not alone in this. And also, and I'll come on to this, outside of the workplace, you can consider lifestyle changes, taking part in exercise, maybe walking more as part of movement, and eating that healthy, balanced diet. And also, maybe check out, there are these local menopause cafes around, or maybe social media groups online to speak to people who are going through a similar experience. And I must therefore give a shout out to the Perimenopausal Hub as well, that you can follow on Facebook, on Instagram, and I'm a perimenopausal hub expert there too, so to go and look them up too. And if you are in paid employment, maybe working at home more now as part of COVID, or self-employed, a shout out to all of those self-employed too. I think we need to be thinking about regular breaks. We need to be thinking how we can stretch throughout the day. Stretches maybe away from our desk, at our desk, maybe movement too, going out if we can to do those regular walks. Neat exercise as well. That's one to look up and Google if you've not heard of it before, but it's thinking about, things that we do throughout the day are part of our daily routine. It may be the hoovering, maybe running up and down the stairs, that can help with movement. And also thinking about the importance of those bone and muscle strengthening exercises as well. So you can join a class online, you could go out and do them as part of a gym workouts as well. Yoga poses, meditation. I'm sort of big into breath work at the moment too. Taking out time for a walk, as I said, and getting out in nature. All things that are relatively small that we can introduce into our daily work patterns if we're working from home, if we're working, we're self-employed too. But I think we can also sort of spear changes in our organisation too if we're working for an organisation. And there are lots of organisations such as Boots, HSBC, Sainsbury's, Next, Aviva, Atos, Southern Eastern Railways, Carnival UK that are leading the way too. But what is your organisation already doing? And you may or may not know in the public and private sector to support us with our perimenopause, menopause symptoms. So as I mentioned before, are they offering flexible working patterns? Do they provide access to support groups? Do they have a policy? Are they offering training? And we can be on the front foot here if we choose to do so, to sort of be spearheading change and actually helping to educate our employers too. So be that spokesperson if you choose to do so. And you can go along, and be journaling or really tracking your patterns of your perimenopause and menopause, and actually go along and educate our employers too, to advocate for change and make changes in your organisation. I can't enough sort of do a shout out to thinking about good nutrition. So it is thinking about how we set ourselves up for the day, a good breakfast, low release carbs. We are thinking our full fat yogurts, we are thinking about our oats, our nuts and seeds, our good proteins, taking a lunch along away with us, and if it is lunchtime, thinking about those healthy fats and proteins. So it is thinking about not going and grabbing for the carbs, but how we can tone those down. So come 3 o'clock, we're not reaching for the sugar fix, which will only play havoc with our cortisol levels and sending our blood sugar levels, up and down like a roller coaster. So thinking about tuning out those ultra processed foods, nourishing our mind and body and keeping ourselves hydrated, and also thinking about supplements too, good multivitamin, omega-3, fish oil, vitamin C, D and magnesium, just to name a few essentials. The final one I wanted to talk about was contacting your GP. If you want to if you choose to do so, and going along again with your checklist of symptoms to say this is what I'm experiencing. So it's being on the front foot. Now you can, if you choose to do so, and to caveat that with, if you are able to do so, given any genetic history or any previous or pre-existing medications or medical conditions, so taking medication, so an HRT route. But again, as I said, caveating that with it's individual choice, and if you're able to as well. And the reason I bring that in is that in the recent news, there has been news about giving pharmacies now the ability to offer as well as to prescribe HRT alternatives, given the recent shortage. And I'm sure if you're on HRT or maybe looking to as well, this is giving us as women, the opportunity to be able to continue to manage those symptoms, those cognitive symptoms at work, whether it's our brain fog, our concentration, our memory loss, or any other cognitive challenges that can affect our daily working lives. And in the news, the Health Minister, Maria Caulfield, was talking about that as well. So I'm conscious I've spoken for 15 minutes, but I wanted to sort of re-energise and start again my videos on Facebook and Instagram as well. Look out, I said, in the next couple of days, go to Clarity Kent and my blog page and look out from my blog for this month about menopause at work. It'll have some links for things that you can join in on, things you can listen to, things that you can read as well. So go along, find the post there, which will be a more succinct summary of what I've spoken about today. So take care, and I'll be back soon with more videos. Bye for now.